in time. Anyway, time for change. Time for change. I heard the other day that apparently, I'm still here, guys. There will be no petrol-powered cars. Well, every car. I'll put that more simply and more accurately. There will be. Sorry, I cover the camera. It's hot here, by the way. There will be no. Every car will be electric by 2030. Now, obviously, these sources that state this kind of thing are part of the mainstream media, and therefore they have to be, questioned or taken with a bit of a pinch of salt or a pinch of sodium, carbon, whatever. Anyway, that leads me to what I want to talk about, which is fuel, and fossil fuel, to be exact. All right, well, I learned something today that the scientists, I love that term, the scientists say, that's what the scientists say. What scientists? I mean, I think if that was to be dug, that was to be, investigated deeper and dug deeper into that, if we dug deeper into that, we'd find that it would probably amount to names of scientists with lots of letters and numbers or whatever behind their names. I don't know exactly pound words. I don't care. Maybe I should care. In Geneva. That's what I'd say. And I'd say they probably work in laboratories near CERN. I'd say, but maybe I'm just being far too cynical. Anyway, the scientists say that a fossil has never been found below 16,000 feet. A real, genuine fossil. I only learned that today by watching another documentary actually that was quite good. I did think the guy that was being filmed on it was only short. I think, I believed a lot of what he said. He seemed to be pretty legit. But anyway, he said that that's what the scientists say. And he said that because he worked in the oil and coal drilling mining business for a long time. Is now retired. And he said that oil is drilled at 28, 30, 33,000 feet every day of the week. Well, if that's the case, then the lowest point ever found, a fossil was ever found, is 16,000. Then that doesn't really make a lot of sense, because that means there's like a 12,000 plus foot gap between the last fossil that's been found and where the oil is. Yeah. So, right. Well, basically, see, this is something that you may not be aware of. So, I'll start from basics. I'll stop assuming, as I foolishly do, that people know what I'm talking about. Do I even know what I'm talking about? Right. Basically, you probably are aware that fuel, petrol for your car, the crude oil that's mined to make that sort of stuff, to make plastic, to use for power stations and whatever, is known as fossil fuel. That, clues in the title, is because it's palmed off and sold as a substance that is made organically from hydrogen, carbon, which is what all living things are made of. So therefore, when they die, they rot, decompose. What's left is the fossilized remains, and basically, when it's compressed under lots of heat and pressure, it turns into coal, gas, or oil. That's the theory. However, that is not true. And the reason it is, because the first thing people say when I tell them this sort of thing is they go, but why would they lie? Why would they lie? The answer is always the same. The answer will never change. So please, if you ever ask me, why would they lie? When I tell you that something's a lie, a big lie, which is what all my videos are pretty much about. I just don't like liars. I don't lie. I don't like lies. And I don't like people being lied to either. Because that, for me, is a form of violation. So that is violent. And that is intrusive. and that is rape. Okay? So liars are rapists. Okay? You don't have to get your cock out and stick it against someone's will in them to be a rapist. Okay? Right. Or whatever else you like to do against someone's will. But basically, yeah, I don't like liars. And so, right, basically, why the lie? Well, money. Simple. Power. Money, power, manipulation. I mean, whichever way you want to look at it, right? Everything boils down to having your way, or wicked way, as it seems it becomes when people get, past a acceptable level of power and money. So yeah, that's the answer. Whenever, why the lie? Money, power, manipulation, another form of rape. Yeah. So what they did was, when they started to, I got this. I mean, I knew this anyway, but I've just recently, I just watched that clip of this fella that worked in the business, and he put it very, very quickly. So I'll kind of, reiterate that just for the sake of this video, and where I'm coming to on this, which is not any secondary information at all. This is coming to what I've put together, which is going to be very controversial. When am I not? Basically, yeah, when the transport industry started to become very, commonplace, obviously the vehicles were powered by oil, petroleum from oil. So the price rocketed up because it was just a lubricant before that, right? Or used for lamps, for burning lamps. Once it became the substance used to power vehicles, this new form of moving around, new after the last reset, forget I said that. Anyway, it was new in the early 19th century, going up to the 20th century, right? All the trains all the way through up there, and it became cars, bikes, and planes, and whatever. The price got hiked up, and the way they could justify doing that was by saying it was a fossil fuel, and therefore it was scarce and it was going to run out. Like they do with everything. I mean, come on, how does everything work? It's supply and demand, right? And if somebody wants something, it's because they need it for whatever it is they desire to do. And if you can supply it, then and no one else can, and you've got the monopoly on that, well, you want to get as much as you can for it, innit? You can decide the price. However, if people find out that they can get that somewhere else, or it's not as rare and scarce as you say, well, so you don't want them finding out, do you? So you do two things. What you do is you make sure that you totally manipulate the market as much as you can of where that original product is sourced. And as many different ways, heinous ways they do that in these third world countries. The second thing you do is you lie. You blatantly lie. You make up a story that you sell to the public, very much like diamonds. They're not rare. They're valueless. They're no different to finding a rock on the beach. Trust me. Emeralds, rubies, sapphires, they seem to be different. They are more scarce. But a diamond, going off the point slightly, digressing slightly, but yeah, diamonds are forever, or diamonds are a girl's best friend. Right? Was a slogan put on posters with Marilyn Monroe actually doing the advertising, the modelling by De Beers, and that was the company that were they were a jewelry company, and they hit a slump, and they went, how are we going to get out of this? And a slogan was given to them: diamonds are a girl's best friend. And basically there was a formula made which said that the engagement ring a guy should buy for his potential fiancée, his future wife, should be 3 times his monthly salary, right? So it coincidentally, no coincidence, don't like that word, diamond engagement rings seem to be either £500 at the cheapest, right? And up to £500, then you get £1,500 benchmark, then you get this £3,000 benchmark, and then you get this 10,000. Because if you look, when you have wage systems, you normally have, like, say, part-time or apprentice wage, which ends up being very, very low, about £150 a month, right? Then you have the £150 a week, £200 a week one. See, and you times these by 3, and you start getting the prices of the diamond engagement rings. Okay. Anyway, that's just about diamonds. You try and buy an emerald engagement ring, then it's very different. Anyway, I was digressing there with stones. What happened was they had to make out that the oil, petroleum, was made of fossils, which is dead living things, organic things, and therefore it takes thousands, if not millions, of years to produce from the earth under the pressure and the heat and stuff of those remains, those bodies. Therefore, if we mine it and get it all out of the earth, it's going to be millions of years before there's any more, because it hasn't been, we've extracted it too fast for all our vehicles, so therefore we've got to charge loads for it, so people are a bit more respectful. Listen, let's just stop there a second. That theory is completely debunked anyway, right? Because it doesn't matter how expensive something is. That doesn't stop people buying it. I mean, you know, come on. I mean, if you're like me, that if you're given £100, you'll spend it the same as I was given £1,000. It'd be the same amount of time, because I'll find something to buy that's worth £1,000. If I'm given £10,000, I'll think, oh, well, I can buy that now. Bang! It's gone the same amount of time. It's the same principle with fuel or anything. I mean, like, you think charging $2 a litre of fuel is the same as charging $5 a litre of fuel? No, people are still going to pay it because they need to go where they want to go. So really, yeah, it what it does, it just makes people pay it, because that is what it does, and that's what they can't really tell you. They lie about where it comes from to make it seem rare and scarce, because then you won't question paying this ridiculous extortionate amount for it. That is the bottom line. Okay. And yet again, it was Rockefeller and his team that came up with that, if you must know. Now, as this guy put, I like the little phrase he used. He said, try to put a price on a bucket of oil. It's like trying to put a price on a pail of water. How can you? It just seems, it's everywhere. And, oil is the second most abundant natural liquid on Earth. I think blood's got to be in there somewhere as well, isn't it? Maybe semen. All right, forget that. I'm probably right. But anyway, yeah, that doesn't come out of animals. Things. Oil is the secondary most abundant liquid to water, so it's definitely not gonna run out. And there's a big reason, which if you know what I know, and I'm not going to say believe what I believe, it's not a matter of belief, it's knowing the truth. Oil will never run out, because it quite simply seems to be, now this bit is guesswork by me, an assumption, in the ground, as much ground as there is as much oil as there is, really, in relation relatively. Well, we don't live on a limited sized ball, do we? Remember, folks? No, we don't. And we don't live on a disc floating in space that's rising either. No, we don't. What we live on is a possibly infinite, in all directions, level plane of physical, solid terra firma. And then you have this substance called water, which is like, if you're going to say, let's say you have liquid, solid, and gas as the three main elements, right? The three main, composites. You have the water secondary, which is the oceans and the rivers and everything. And then when that hits sea level, another bit of evidence and proof we're not on a bally, water finding its level, shaping to the container and all that. Above that, you then have the air, the gas. So you have the solid, liquid, and the gas. Now, the liquid, we're not even quite sure how far down that goes. But then, if they know the size of the Earth as a ball, then you do know how far down that is. So that's a stupid fucking statement already, yeah? They always tell us, we don't know the deepest part of the ocean. It's like, well, you pretty much can assume that. You have these bullshit diagrams in kids' fucking textbooks at school and college, which have like that ball is the cross section of the cut out, and it says mantle, core, crust, molten middle, where that causes magnetism and fuck off. They never dug below 8 miles. So how the fuck can they show you that? That's all assumption. Bollocks. What happens when you assume? You make an ass of you and me. Ass, you, right? I like that one. So yeah, assumptions are bullshit. Assumptions, brainwashing, bullshitting kids. and you grow up believing it's true, like I did for a long time actually as well. I was guilty of that, and that's why I'm so insistent on this truth spreading and telling and helping the future. I'm educating, believe it or not, and in a weird way. Maybe I'm just polluting your mind. I'm definitely polluting your minds. I definitely am, but I call this good pollution. Just like what's in my pipe, good pollution. Now, we live on an infinite plane, possibly, of land, and therefore that could go infinitely down as well. And I think there's a good chance it bloody does, or is good to us as infinite. Yeah, when the dome, we're under the dome, and I think there's water all around our dome. We're on, if you can imagine, kind of like we're on a giant seabed. Yeah, and there's like a dome put on the seabed, and then they suck all the water out of it, like pressure, so it's like a vacuum inside, and then you've got the little like puddles and land, on the seabed under the dome, and then there's like air above it, above that bit. So that basically I see as what we're living in. Now, if you go right up through that water and you hit this, maybe there is a sky above the water, if you know what I mean. But down. How far down? Anyway, oil is all along and all down there. They never run out. There we go. So anyway, it's not a fossil fuel. We're not going to run out of oil. Spread the word, and hopefully people will start processing its paying stupid odds. Anyway, what's the point? We'll have electric cars soon, so it's all bollocks, isn't it? See ya.